Okay. Let me get started here. Hold on. Big ass forehead. There we go. As you can see, I got a new vehicle, which is kind of cool. But also, I got a new thing that's pissing me off. So I needed a hot take on it. Okay. Hold on. Take it easy. Okay. So, in case nobody knows, Walking Dead's coming out this weekend. And they've basically done everything they could do in media, in news, in their fan pages, everything to let us know that, one, this is Rick's last season. Rick's last days begin on Sunday. Rick is gonna be gone after this season. And then they've been letting us know that Shane is gonna show up again, as I'm guessing a flashback, or they're gonna, I don't know, if Shane just shows up as Shane, I'm gonna be flipping out in a bad way, because that's dumb. That's how you get lost shit. They're bringing Shane back. They're going to get a lot more focus to Maggie, Michonne, Carol, all our awesome female badasses. And they're letting us know that Negan's going to be much bigger, and the Whisperers are going to be all this thing. Couldn't we just have some surprise? Any surprise? Because I am super tired of hearing how this is Rick's last season. Imagine how cool it would have been if they didn't let us know a thing about Rick leaving, Andrew Lincoln's, done with the show, all this stuff. They basically ruined all the surprise of wanting to watch this show. I don't need to watch the show now. Now, I've been teetering on Walking Dead as it is. I feel like a lot of fans are. Walking Dead's been on a little thin ice lately because it's just, it's not as good, plain and simple. Negan's a great element, but I haven't liked it in a long time. Like, other than the stuff with Negan. But the stuff with Negan has been very sporadic. Very sporadic. Like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, hello. Sorry. But the part that got me back into the show was that fucking crazy curveball of Carl being bit. Now, I know that's very different than the comics, and I agree, losing Carl was definitely not good for the show, because Carl is a great character, and Chandler Riggs basically took that character from being a shitty garbage kid to being one of the coolest characters in the show, which is very hard to do. Anyone who's watched Sopranos knows what I'm talking about. It's very hard to take a shitty kid character, have them grow up with the show, and be a better character. Usually they stay that shitty character because we don't care. But Carl was the exception of that show, at least to a point, I think. And I don't know. It really irks me that we had that amazing reveal of Carl getting bit, the mid-season finale last season. No one knew that was coming. But of course, now in hindsight, if you pay attention, you might have known it was coming, because you can actually see him get bit earlier in the season. You can see when it happens, when he's helping out Sadiq. Sadiq? I think that's his name. I almost called him Saeed. That's the dude from Lost. But I was a little worried that it was gonna not work out. And the way they did it, the way they showed his last day and his whole lead-in of like knowing he was bit and leading into it, that was cool. I was okay with that. I like the idea. That's almost a cooler idea because then you don't know something bad's about to happen to him until later. Where with Lost and Walking Dead and a couple other shows, they would focus an episode on a character, and you would know that was the reason, that was a ticket for that character to die. You knew that character was dying because the episode would be focused on them. And with Walking Dead, it was finally kind of a return to Game of Thronesian form, where you're just like, holy shit, someone's dead. But then they ruined all that with all the publicity for next season. They're even in their commercials calling it, oh, Rick's final days start, blah, blah, blah. I fully admit, I'm one of those people that's like, once Rick's gone, I'm gone. The only thing that might keep me still watching is Dan Fogler. Because I love Dan Fogler as an actor. He's a guy who should be in more things. He's great in Fantastic Beasts. He's great in, there was this movie where him and Josh Duhamel got stuck in the middle of the desert. That's a good movie. I forget what it was called, but he's really good in it. And he was great in Fanboys. And I love Dan Fogler. So the fact that he's showing up in the next season of Walking Dead is pretty dope. But Rick has been our lead character since the start. The show has been focusing around Rick. The first scene of The Walking Dead was Rick getting gas and then shooting that little girl. That was it. It was just Rick. Nobody else was in that scene. The first episode, the pilot, was all about Rick getting to Atlanta. You didn't have any side characters. It was all about Rick. And Rick has been the main character of the show since its inception. And I'm not saying it can't work to focus on other characters, because we've seen that it can with The Walking Dead. And I know I keep bringing up Lost, but Lost is another one where, many would contend that Jack is the lead character of Lost. Even though there's like 12 leads in that show. 8 leads. I think 8. Probably 12's too big of a number. But Jack was always kind of the leader. So imagine if they got rid of Jack. I feel like it wouldn't have been as good. Like, I love Matt Fox. He has yet to do good movies, but he was great as Jack. And someone pointed out, they're like, imagine watching Sons of Anarchy without Jax Teller, or watching Justified without Raylan Givens. Walking Dead without Rick is not good. And it is, in my opinion, it won't do as good, because Andrew Lincoln's such a great actor, and he's so fun to watch act, that it's really just kind of a bummer that he's leaving. I understand why he's leaving. It makes perfect sense. Like, the whole thing behind why he's leaving, I get that. 100%. But I don't know. I feel like I would watch the show. I'd be way into watching the show more if, when they killed off Rick, we had no idea what was going to happen. But they've ruined that. There's this Walking Dead forum on Facebook that I follow, and they usually post pretty good stuff. But their last, 25 posts in the past month have all been about how Rick is leaving, how the Whisperers are going to be showing up, how it's going to be more female-led show, all that stuff. When it comes to making more female leads, I don't care. Do you? As long as they're good characters, I don't care. And if we know anything about Walking Dead, they got good female characters. Maggie's a great character. The only real troubled female character we've had is Lori. Carol is awesome. Sasha was awesome. Okay, Andrea was awful too, but they fixed it. They fixed it by bringing in Michonne and Maggie, and Beth was even pretty good. And I don't know. It just really just, I think they dug their own grave by not only not ending after Rick is gone, but telling us Rick is going to be gone every step of the way. I miss when TV shows didn't tell you everything that was going to happen in them before they happened. Because that happens so much now. Like, there's a reason they talk about the Red Wedding. There's a reason they talk about Oberyn Martell's death. There's a reason they talk about Charlie's death from Lost. There's a reason they talk about there's a reason they talk about like crazy deaths in TV shows. There's Marshall's dad in How I Met Your Mother, a freaking sitcom. One of the nicest characters in the show dies just randomly. And they didn't mention it at all. And like Jason Segel didn't even know it was going to happen until it happened on set. That's how you do it. You make it a surprise. If you announce it with like just like every step of the way, give us a play-by-play of what's going to happen before it even happens, that ruins the show. Like imagine how less cool the Red Wedding would have been if you knew it was going to happen. Now, given those that read the book knew it was going to happen, but most people that watch Game of Thrones, if I'm being honest, haven't read the book. I didn't read the book until after I watched the first season, and I was like, I got to get into this book. Then I read the book, and then I was like, fuck. Because now I know it's coming. And it was cool when I was reading it, but I don't know. It's just Oberyn Martell's death. It just all these deaths are so much better when you don't know they're coming, and it really bothers me. Or just a surprise, not even like a death you know is coming. It's just like all these different things. House, when Wilson got cancer, I remember watching that episode. I was watching season 8. Which, given House's final season, isn't the best. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. But when Wilson comes in and says to House, I've got cancer, just right at the end of that episode, I started screaming at my television because Wilson is my favorite character in that show. He was the only real voice of reason. He was House's best friend. He was the best character in that show for me. And when he got cancer, I lost my fucking mind. And I'm just wondering, if I had known that was going to happen, I would have been like, oh shit, that sucks. Well, got to keep watching the show. Because even though I know it's going to happen, it just really bothers me. This is a long-ass hot take, but I am just so disappointed in the makers of The Walking Dead. Because they've ruined the surprise. Unless they do a baller move and don't get rid of him. Then I would lose my shit even more. That would be so baller if they just, instead of telling us, they've been telling us this whole time they're going to get rid of Rick, and they're like pulling the rug under us, and they're like, haha, we're not, fuck you. Don't believe everything you fucking read. So if they do that, that'd be awesome. But now I've told you that, so maybe that ruins that. But still, what the fuck you doing, Walking Dead?